welcome to Compton, California. If y'all ain't feeling that beat, come on now.
That was a sick intro.
Beat, wasn't it? Yeah, I know.
Did you make that, Corianne?
I did. Well, she made the graphics and I picked the music.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. You like that tattoo arm? That's very LA, right? Yeah. That's all Corianne. Guys, look who we have here. We are going to introduce our special guest, but we have a familiar face, Miss Corianne Wright, who is my co-host on Tuesdays for Ask an Agent Anything. Thank you for being here. I love that.
Thanks for letting me pop on and say hi. I mean, honestly, like California is popping. Like before, I've got comp in Colorado, and you know, y'all hang out. It's awesome. It's good to see some of you. But in California, y'all need help, and you can tell. Because everybody's in here going, I got addresses, help, help, help. So I like to pop in and say hi to y'all. If you have any business or needs in Colorado, please hit me up. You can find me on IG at Corianne Wright. Myself and my business partner, Austin, will take good care of you. And yeah, just thanks for letting me say hi. I'm excited. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to just say hi to Tyler? Because he's, like I said, he's gorgeous. Hey, Tyler.
What's up?
For those of you who do not know Mr. Tyler, he is our brother in arms in the astro flipping community. And again, for those of you who don't know what that is, because this is going to be evergreen on YouTube, it is a community of investors that specifically hone in on the wholesaling technique. It's not the only technique on the planet for investing, but it's some of the lowest hanging fruit, where if you need to just kind of get your bank account up a little bit, you're flipping contracts, you're talking to flippers, you're talking to other buy and hold folks. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but that's how we know him. And you can ask Corianne and myself about astro flipping a little bit later or in the chat. But Tyler is so cute, you guys. Put some freaking fire emojis in there. Tyler gets super shy, but Tyler was, or maybe you still are, a model. And actually, who'd you want?
I'm not a model anymore.
Okay.
I had, like, it was a short-lived career. Like, it wasn't even really a career. It was more of like a, let me see how this thing goes. And then I got in real estate, and that definitely took over more.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know if there's like as much money to make in that, but so you didn't walk for anybody like a Versace or anything like that?
No, I mean, I had people wanting me to, but I just didn't want, like, that was as I was already pretty deep into real estate. So at that point I was like, I'm too focused on this. I don't need a distraction. I feel like if I wasn't doing anything, like if real estate wasn't a thing in my life, then definitely probably would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got, like, somebody came up to me in El Pollo Loco once, and from an agency, and they had me come to their office, and they were wanting me to, join their team and stuff like that. It was interesting.
That's how they do it. They pluck you guys out of who knows where. I know. Yes. I mean, and also because you're sitting down, how would anybody know this? But Tyler is tall. What are you, like 6'5"?
No, not that tall. I'm like 6'2", 6'3", in between that. Yeah.
That's all I know. I'm like 5'6". That's it. Yeah. Anyway, so we are just blessed to have you here. I love it. And, we can jump right in, guys. I do see one address, but Tyler, let's just, get a little bit of background for you, because I want people to really get that if they're making a career change, if you are in real estate, especially for the folks that do watch Ask an Agent Anything, and you don't really understand how to comp as an investor, give us a little insight on how you got into this. I know you kind of said the model thing, but at least parlayed into it. I don't think you went to college, right? And then what is that really like for you? Because you never made a career change, but you're a young guy. So here you are, doing really well financially, and it doesn't really matter what age. So you're going to inspire the young people, but also for the older folks, listen up. If this is going to wet your whistle and you want to make a career change or pivot into something, Tyler's got a lot of information to share. So you're here to stay. I know you've been doing this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Bring your freaking pins, guys. I'm about to get off the stage. You don't need me. You only need these two amazing people from California. But I do want to let you know that you are going to need your pins, because not only is Tyler great at what he does, he got into this business quick and fast. And guess whose CRM I use to keep track of all of my people? Tyler's. He is incredibly smart. He's incredibly good at what he does, and y'all are lucky. So click your pins, and I'm off the stage, y'all. Bye.
Thanks, Corianne.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I got into real estate when I was 19. I had like just turned 19. So I never went to college. What I actually wanted to do, I wanted to do two things. So I grew up racing dirt bikes, first off. So I wanted to become a professional motocross racer. I got to an age where, you know, I wasn't really close enough. So it just didn't make sense for me to continue doing it. So I was like, I got to figure out what I wanted to do. Wanted to be an entertainer, actually. Wanted to like stream, be a gamer, be a YouTuber, things like that. And, you know, at some point, just across knowing people in the entertainment industry, as far as like, you know, YouTube and things like that, I learned about like stocks. So stocks was interesting to me because you could like, you know, I didn't know you could just buy and sell stocks and make money. So that was like a whole new world to me. So I kind of started learning about that. And then through that, I just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, found out about real estate, wanted to actually be a realtor, but then decided to jump into wholesaling because I saw some like 14-year-old kid who like didn't have a license, and he just was wholesaling houses and making tens of thousands of dollars. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Screw going through this like, you know, realtor course. I can just jump straight into this business model. And so that's really what drew me to it. And I lived in Sacramento at the time. I now live in downtown LA, but I was just focusing in my backyard, really. I mean, at first I was like, let me do like nationwide, because my thought process was like, yeah, let's just do everywhere, more deals, more money, baby, you know, but it doesn't work like that. And so, yeah, just focused on my backyard, Sacramento, and then just kind of expanded from there into the Bay Area. And now actually just expanded my team to Southern California. So, yeah. Which we're going to be doing deals together, Renee.
Come on, my man. I know. We're so entrepreneurial together. I don't know if we'll be like team together, but for sure, you know, I can help you because I do things a little bit differently, right? Like I kind of scoop up the stuff that might not work for you as well, which is so much fun.
Yep.
So I love that. And really, guys, listen in between, you know, how Tyler is thinking. So as a younger person, you know, he's decided, okay, I didn't want to go to college, which is so interesting because I'm actually a Gen Xer, which gives you a little indicator of how old I am. But that was not the messaging when I grew up. The messaging was still, you know, kind of get a job or, you know, go to school, get a job. And there was that accessibility. Now the world has changed so much. So I invite anybody who's a little bit more into kind of the Gen X, maybe elder millennial age, that it's okay to make a career change and you don't necessarily have to go back to school to do it. And this is a way to do it. And you can do very well for yourself. And even if you are a little intimidated or scared, it's okay to reach out to someone like myself or Tyler and lock arms. And guys, essentially Tyler and I are like competitors of sorts. I don't really believe in that word. I think competition is just kind of a numbers on the board, you know, like it kind of keeps score of sorts.
Scarcity mindset, in my opinion, right? Like if you're worried about competitors, you're too worried about what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself and work with other people. I like the saturated markets. I like where everyone is because it just means more opportunity for collaboration. And the amount of deals I do with other people, that if I had the mindset of like, I'm not going to work with these people, they're my competitor or whatever, I would not have a business right now.
And, you know, on the agent side, because of those of you who do know, or at least I'll say it if anybody's tuning in first, you know, I've been an agent for damn near as long as I think Tyler, how old he is, 19 years. 19 years I've had my license here in California. Yes. 22. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, I always jokingly say we're aging back here, back in LA. We age backwards, so it's okay. I'm probably younger than I am. You know, it's the same difference like with being a real estate agent, right? So we all have the same pieces of paper, or in this instance, maybe we're all looking at the same houses. We're all kind of looking at the same fixer properties because we're really looking at fixer properties when we're talking about investment. And people are going to do business already with people that they know, like, and trust. And it just depends. You know, sometimes you're catching a seller or an agent on the right day if you're prospecting agents. And it really doesn't matter. You know, if Tyler got a deal I was going after, then, you know, good on him. And maybe I can do a deal with him and vice versa. So he's back to what he said, don't have scarcity mindset, which leads me into, I don't know if this is a scarcity mindset, but it's all about California, right? So we're doing comping California. And in California, what I've noticed, at least in the astro flipping community, people that I've spoken to, they have it like California's a little scary. You know, it's a big state. It has some political issues that are going on right now. So we're kind of the hot topic of the nation, right? There's that. There's EMD, earnest money deposit is expensive. Oh my God, the houses are expensive. There's just no room for flips. I mean, I've heard it all. And thus people tend to go to other states, of which they even live here. Some of them live in, you know, Northern California, Southern California, it doesn't really matter, but kind of where a lot of the activity is going. Yeah. Speak to that, because I'm here. We're doing deals here, Tyler, you and I, you know, and I drive around and I see a lot of new construction and a lot of flips and a lot of things are going on. So talk to what's going on in the trenches, not to what the you know, what am I saying? The news would have you say.
Yeah. I mean, you know, for me personally, as far as the political stuff, I mean, that really doesn't affect my wholesale deals whatsoever. So, I mean, maybe in the sense of like some tenant laws, right? But like, there's not really many rental opportunities here anyways, because prices are so high that it just doesn't make sense for any property. Like, they're not going to cash flow most of the time. Not to say you can't do rentals. I've definitely done some rental deals, but not nearly the amount of fix and flip deals I do. So I'd say as far as a fix and flip, like cash wholesale state, I love it. And in fact, I believe that it's one of the easier markets to understand because there's not so much complication when it comes to the actual houses themselves. You know, I feel like most houses, obviously depending on where you are, but like, let's just take Sacramento, for example, or maybe Riverside or San Bernardino. Like a lot of the houses are the same. Like, it's not like you're going to come across, like in Florida, I know there's like, you know, wood frame, block homes, you got sinkholes, you got like all these things. You don't have to worry about that stuff in California. So it makes comping a lot easier, in my opinion, and understanding the market a lot easier. And you just get bigger fees, you know, more money, less work. The volume's definitely lower, especially in Northern California. You're going to do a lot lower volume. Southern California is massive. I mean, if you do the research, just look on Privy, how many fix and flips are in Southern California versus Northern California. I think Southern California, I wish I went to Southern California earlier because there's a lot of volume to be done in Southern California. Yeah. And, you know, the prices are still high. You're going to get an average of $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, you know, deals. So in my opinion, I think it's one of the best for wholesaling. I would say if you're a fix and flipper, it's probably one of the best in my opinion, because the, you know, the profit margins are there. And again, you can just make 6 figures on a flip in, you know, 6 months versus 30,000 on a flip. And you got to do 5 of those. You know what I mean?
We're the kind of the quiet storm over here. You know, I'm not really loud about the business that I do. I do keep it kind of under wraps. Maybe it's just my personality. You know, I don't know that I need to be wheeling checks all over. I'm a little past those days. What I can provide is, you know, opportunity, right? So with my skill set and what I know and being more of a breadth, because you said Riverside and San Bernardino, for those of you who know Southern California, yeah, those counties were kind of newly built. What's newly built? Probably the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, and then some, right? Whereas LA proper is a much older county. Most properties were built in the 20s and even into mid-century modern. So, you know, you got the 50s and 60s, and they are more challenging to comp. And you've got the hills, and there's a lot of intrinsic kind of things that don't really have a monetary value. Like, ooh, can you see the Hollywood sign or not? You know, is the view worth the money, right? So there's some things like that has been fun for me to primarily be in the Los Angeles market, even though I've done business throughout California, to be able to speak to that. So I think that's where you and I, you know, can help each other as well. So fun.
And something I want to mention too are, in my opinion, the contracts. Like, you know, the contracts are the most lenient, honestly, compared to most states. Like, for example, I mean, this isn't like the greatest benefit as a buyer, but you know, for the seller side, if the seller's canceling a deal, like, you can't just force them to close in California, at least like some other states. Now that could be a plus or a benefit, but also the leniency goes both ways. Like on a buyer side, this brings up the EMD concern. Like, a lot of people concerned about high EMD. Well, in California, if you have by default, if you're using a realtor contract, 3 days to deposit your EMD. So that's 3 days of free marketing that you can do without putting your deposit down. On top of that, if you don't perform, you have to receive a notice to perform, which gives you an extra two days, I believe, right? an extra 2 days to market that opportunity, or not market the opportunity, but to perform, right? But us as wholesalers, we're going to take it to market the opportunity. So that's 5 days right there that I don't have to put EMD down. And honestly, if you're not selling it after 5 days, if you're a good wholesaler, you probably don't have the best deal. At least you should have some offers then, so you could try to get a retrade or something, right? Yeah. But you know, a lot of realtors too they're not going to, unless you're on top of it, like Renee, I'm sure is on top of these things, but you know, there's a lot of realtors who aren't on top of the timelines. Mm-hmm. So they might not give you a notice to perform till like day 5. And it's, and your 2-day cure period is from the date of receipt of the notice to perform. So now I have 7 days to actually perform and deposit EMD. So like you can utilize the timeline of the contract as a wholesaler to not deposit EMD and get that thing sold. Or you can always just use a gator lender too, or just sell it. You know, that's the easiest.
I will say a caveat to that, and this is more that my agent hat on, right? I walk both sides. So I walk the investor side, I speak investor. I walk the agent side, I speak agent. The one thing about I caution people is, yes, everything Tyler said is true. And please lean on, number one, knowing your comps. That's why we have this show, so that when you get it under contract, or better known as locking it up, that is not language that realtors use. It's getting it under contract. So just know the distinction, that when you do get it locked up, that you do have a deal. Because the thing is, agents, this is why agents don't typically like working with investors very often, or they only work with the investors that they know, like, and trust. Remember, people only do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you're new and you're trying to get in on this thing, that don't go around canceling contracts, especially if you haven't taken it upon yourself to do some kind of justification, which is a walkthrough or a paid inspection. Now, it's like, if you're pushing the limits on 7 days to try to get an EMD in, okay. But on the agent side of things, when you go to cancel a contract based on nothing, you know, based on, well, you didn't even walk the property, or you didn't have an inspector out, you didn't have a GC out, a general contractor out, we look goofy to our sellers, right? So I get it. There's a hustle mentality with investors. They're trying to hustle. You're trying to wholesale. But you can stop all of that nonsense and having a relationship broken, a trust broken, if you actually have a deal and then you can actually sell it to a buyer. Please, I implore you. This is why I'm taking my time, and Tyler is taking his time doing this show. It's not because I don't have anything else to do. It's because I want to help educate the general public as who's doing wholesaling, and also for agents to say, hey, this is going on out here. So if 2 or 3 or 4 days go by, you want to ask, hey, are you wholesaling this thing? Don't be a lazy agent, because then you might get a cancellation and now everybody's in an upset. So there's a lot of psychology that's going behind here. But first and foremost, this is a relationship-based business. Don't go burning relationships in the name of trying to get something under contract. Please. This is good. I've never seen anything like it. And in my 19 years, I've been wholesaling in other times in 19 years, right? And it's been the craziest in the last 3. So
agreed.
Any thoughts?
No, I agree with you 100%. And what, you know, everything I just said is not something to, like, yes, the ability to do that stuff is there. It doesn't mean you should just leverage that every single time. Because like Renee said, you have relationships you're building, and you have a reputation and an industry that you're representing too. And you don't want to put a bad name or a bad rep on those things. And so anyone who's brand new, I always recommend go to somebody who really knows the market, like a bigger dispositions company, or a cash buyer that you know and that you can trust, you know, to give you buy prices on your deals. So that way, when you're actually getting it under contract, you are confident up front, and you being able to actually get that deal moved, rather than you scrambling now that, and you don't even know if you have a good deal or not, right? And then you have people tell you, oh, it's not a deal, and now you're kind of screwed, right? So until you understand and get the feeling of, I'm super confident in being able to get this thing sold at the price that I came up with, until you're at that point, get opinions from buyers and other wholesalers that you know are doing deals, not just any random wholesaler, but you know, a Keegley, a me, a Renee, people in the industry who really understand the market and are doing deals that can give you those buy prices, because then you're going to be way more confident in being able to actually get that deal moved. and limit the risk of you having to take advantage of that other stuff.
Yeah. And just to go, I know this isn't, we're going to get into comping, guys, but I really want to hit this home because here's the stuff that no one is going to tell you. You know, what you guys are hearing is, no, I don't work with investors, or you're just getting a lot of stiff-armed comments, right? And so if you're brand new and maybe you've never been in sales, maybe you're younger, your confidence isn't quite up, all you need is a handful of agents to read you the Riot Act, and you're going to go away with your tail between your legs. And I'm telling you, please heed the call of what Tyler has said, because I'm the one out here speaking agent to you guys, right? This is what we're actually thinking. Oh my gosh, this guy just called me up. You know, he's putting this thing under contract. Of course, they're going to be excited that you got it under contract at a high price, because that's probably closer to asking, but there's no real spread. So no agent is going to say, no, I don't want you to write it for that. And then you're going to have to come back and cancel it. Here's what no one's going to tell you. The agents, we have a little black book. We talk amongst ourselves. There might be a million people with their license, but there's not that many agents doing deals, especially the deals that are like fixer deals, right? We kind of end up getting to know each other. And my name is so unusual that if you kind of say my name around the LA area, even though people don't necessarily know me personally, they're like, yeah, I've seen her name around, or I've seen her name in the MLS. Oh yeah, she does deals or whatever. Like, people will recognize me. And we do talk amongst ourselves. And if somebody really does a dirty, you end up in the black book. No one's ever going to tell you that. And you will wonder why you get ghosted. And I get asked that question a lot. Renee, how can we have agents not ghost us? Don't do bad business, because it makes the agent look bad. And it only takes 1 or 2 times. I'm really serious about this, guys. So please heed Tyler's call. You know, call me, call Tyler, call whomever else that you feel like you're getting the right answers from, because that's how wholesaling really originated. Wholesaling never originated with, oh, let me just get something on their contract and then hope I can sell the contract. No, it was, I'm an agent. I have a seller whom I'm speaking with, and I'm getting that contract like a listing. And that seller decided, you know what? I don't really want to put it in the MLS. I'd rather sell it off market. This is going back in the day style. Okay. And then they decided, great. Hey, I'm the agent. I have a buyer. I'm just going to go flip that contract to the buyer and make some money, or make my commission and a little bit on top. We call that the double dip, right? That's how it originated. Not I get it under contract and I hope. Hope is not a strategy. So into strategy, right? That's one of my famous last words in life. It's not, hope is not a strategy. Do not go there. So Tyler, let's get into it. We're going to, I think you use, you know what, do me a favor. And I apologize. I didn't do this, guys. Hang on. This is like live TV. Go to down to the bottom where it says present, and click on that. Yeah. Because I want you to, oh, Corianne, can you help me out with this? Can you help me out with this? Yeah. Can you get him to get the Zillow on or anything? Awesome.
Oh, here. There we go.
Yeah, because I want you to have control. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Let me share like the specific tab, or okay. Actually, never mind. Sorry. I just don't want to like infinite mirror it, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, guys, because I should have done this earlier, but I was excited talking to him. All right, listen. So now we've got it up. Tyler, I'm going to essentially have you do like a full screen. Can I do that, Corianne? No, he needs to be on there. Yeah. Let's keep him on. All right, cool. All right, guys. So I would say I'm going to let you have at it, Tyler. And we have two addresses in here as well, but maybe you can just share how you go about doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I can just look up, sorry for the infinite screen. Hold on, guys. Let's start with the Sacramento. It's my main market, so we'll go here.
Okay, perfect. We actually have a Sacramento address. You good? Oh, you got it.
We'll have it from the chat, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, for me personally, I like Zillow. I mean, you know, it's the easiest personally, in my opinion. I use a combination of Privy occasionally if we're in a market like Southern California where, you know, you have MLS access, but Privy, unfortunately, at the moment doesn't have MLS access for Sacramento. So I'm just a Zillow goer. So I always, my strategy is just always open up 2 tabs. I got one with the property listing here, and then one with the property listing here, and then I got the other one where I'm going to comp. So If I just close out of that, it just shows me right here on the map. I know we're on Hillsdale Boulevard, which looks like a little bit of a busy street. So I'll keep that in mind. So I'm just looking at the sold deals here, looking at making sure I got the same house style, right? House. And then we got 1787 square feet. So my goal is to stay under 250 square feet of that, or no more than 250 square feet, basically. So I'm going to put the limit to, I'm going to just start with 2000, and I'll look in the last 6 months. And guys, just so you know, in case you're curious how to look back or how to know how far back can you go in a market, I use a thing called Zillow Market Trends. If you go to zillow.com/home-values, United States. Here, I'll just throw this link in the, can I join the chat here? Oh, I have to go to, here we go. Let me throw it on here. I'll throw it in the chat right here, guys. There we go. I use this website. So what I'll do is I'll look at Sacramento, California, and I can see we're up 4.5% over the last year per Zillow. And so I'll just look like, okay, we've been in an uptrend since, the middle of 2023, basically, right? So, I mean, realistically, if there's absolutely nothing that I can use in the last 90 to 120 days, then I'll go back a little bit further, right? And I'll feel comfortable using something this far back because I know our price range was a little bit lower. Or it might be the same. If I'm using a comp here, then it's like, okay, well, obviously don't use that, right? Or if I absolutely need to, I'll take the average home price here, and then I'll just take, okay, there's about a, let's just say, for example, 5% difference. I'll just subtract 5% if that's the only comp that I could find. If like that's a last resort, but just a quick heads up. So that's why you see me going 6 months back, because I know 6 months back, according to the data on Zillow, prices haven't really changed. So I'm good. All right, so got the filters done. Now I'm looking at properties that look like ours. So first thing I always like to do is I like to go on Street View. So I just put the address in Zillow just to get an idea of the neighborhood, the street, obviously very busy street. Looks like we're on the other side of a school, but I can get an idea of like what the front of my house looks like. I always like to look at Street View, but then I'll look at the photos too, just to kind of see the style. 2-story house, got a garage. Looks like it needs some work. Full, I would say this is probably between a cosmetic and gut job, probably. So let's look. We got some 450s right here. This is a single story, so I might save that for later if necessary. I want to try to find something that's 2-story. Single story. And it almost looks like they added that second story onto ours too. Doesn't really look like it was, maybe it was meant to be there, but it looks a little funky. I'm going to see if there's like okay, the staircase is right there. 423, what's behind there? 460, we looked at that. So I'm already seeing right now, I'm thinking we're probably in the 450s somewhere, right? How big are we again? 1787 square feet. This is 1400, 1,000 square feet. This is not even 1,300 square feet. So being that we're 2-story, and obviously we got more square footage, but I think that gives us, it kind of evens itself out, right? Because single-story homes, for the most part, sell a little bit more, but we are bigger, right? So I in my head, it cancels out. So I'm just using these comps here. We're a 4.3. Now, what I don't like to do is people will use the appraisal rules, right? These here, and they'll add, 20K or something. Or I'm sorry, right here. They'll add like 20K or 10K for a bathroom. But if I'm using the highest sold comp in the area, I'm not going to add anything on it no matter what, because there's nothing proving to me that it's going to sell more than that. So I'm feeling comfortable at a 450 ARV, maybe even 460, just because we are a lot bigger. And this thing is renovated. I mean, this is probably our best comp right here. 1972 year build. 1972, lot size is good. I'm going to check the area. Got to not forget that I'm on a main road, so I'm going to have to adjust for that here in a sec. I mean, I think because we're just so big that we're like 460, 465, and then I'm going to subtract 20% being on that. We're fronting the main road. So I got a little extension here, calculator. So 465 minus 20%. I mean, that kind of kills our value, you know. 372, but nothing really sold that low. I mean, these things, we got a 365. Oh, that's us. Why does it say it sold? So I'm going to look also at, is sold a month ago, or a little over a month ago, for 365. We might want to ask, just double check there, what's going on with that, because it might be a little hard to sell knowing that, unless we get it lower. But okay, so anyways, 390 is what I'm saying ARV is. It says 372, but I just don't think it's that low. I think we're at like 390, because it looks like everything else, even a lot smaller, is selling for 390. I'm thinking we're at 390 ARV on that main road. That being said, let's throw it into a calculator. So I do two ways. I have a market research calculator that calculates what percent of ARV we're at if it's a full cosmetic at a 390 ARV. 255 dispo per my market research, which things in Sacramento for cosmetic selling around 66, 67% of ARV. The other way I do it is I'll throw it into an actual calculator. I can throw some links into the chat, by the way, for you guys to make copies of this. 1787 square feet, $40 a square foot. Is what I use for full cosmetic. I got the dollar per square foot here that I use for like Bay Area and Sacramento. So $40 a square foot. And we are 1787 square feet. I think it's a little more than just a cosmetic. It's not, I don't think you have to gut the whole thing. So I like to put it in between. So I'll do $50 a square foot. So being that we're huge, that's going to bring us down to about 90-ish rehab, which makes sense, which is really going to kill us here on the percent of ARV. I just don't think we have to go this low. So in that case, I'd rather use my percent of ARV market research. I'm not going to say 255 because that's for full cosmetic. Let's say what Heavy spits out. Heavy says 242. This one says 228. I'm going to go with the higher one. I'm going to say 242. I think that is fair for this. That we can sell it at. I would maybe put a 3 in front of it, like 239, 900 is what we can sell it for, the 390 ARV. That front road is really kind of killing us. And based on what they're listed for, I mean, whoever bought this thing made a bit of a mistake. So what do you think about that, Renee?
I do. Wow. I mean, it really looked like there was a bit of a mistake, by accident. Yeah. And who knows why, guys, like it's not for us to go down a rabbit hole of make wrong. Remember that too, while you're doing this. It's always interesting. What gets interesting about this business is that you're creating a story and you want to learn from that story. I like how Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. Well, sometimes mistakes leave clues as well. So while you're in doing these comping, you're like, I wouldn't do it this way. And our fearless leader in astroflipping, Jamil, talks about, well, he might have had a pretty decent property that people would want. And I think one time he was doing a property that he just had to sell. His wife needed some medication. He had to make some money. And like 99 people told him no. And one person told him yes. So you never know what somebody's actual buy price is going to be. But overarchingly, what Tyler is showing you is that you want to be within a range. This is the art part of the science, so to speak, right? So everyone's going to have a differentiating opinion. And just because you're working with buyers, you never know where they are. I've worked with buyers who declare themselves as flippers. They declare themselves as small lot developers. And all of a sudden life happens and they want a house or need a house as a buy and hold because maybe their parent is getting older, or, you know, they want to buy a house for their child or something like that. So we don't know what the reason was why they bought this house or the reason why, you know, they're actually trying to sell it. And so that's where you know, get in good with good graces with the agent. I know Brett Michaels, not what's his name?
Brent Daniels.
Thank you. Oh my God, Brett Michaels, look where my head is. That he talks about the 4 pillars. So price, timeline, condition, and motivation. So those are the things you want to have in the back of your mind about when you're talking about a particular property as well. So I don't have anything else to say about how you comped. Guys, you saw how quickly Tyler moved. I know I can see the smoke coming out of the ears. I can hear the chatter in the brain, and I can see the eyes rolling back in the head. Here's the deal, guys. Don't let this stuff scare you. This is the future you want to live into with your career. You want to get this good. I mean, do not get bogged down with all the minutia. It could take you 30 minutes to do this when it really probably should take you 5 to 7 if you get that good. And this is the future you want to live into. I mean, even I know how to comp well. And, you know, I was like, holy crap, Tyler's really moving quick. So that's how we record these. And you can do a stop and then halt and then stop and then halt. And that's how I learned. By the way, Tyler, how did you learn how to comp? Did you find yourself going kind of slow in the beginning? I mean, speak to the folks that are in here that are just like, oh, he's over my head, but wait, I want to be him.
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I wasn't always fast like that, or I knew exactly what to look at when I first started. Like, I'm 3.5 years into it and I've been comping houses every single day for 3.5 years. So like at that point, you're going to be just as good. You know, so for me, it was having a lot of conversations with buyers, and understanding how the investor thinks. That's really how I learned it. And I've literally asked my buyers before, can you like get on a call with me, please? And just show me, because I want to learn how you think. I want to learn, because I don't want to waste your time or any of my other investors' times with the deals I send you guys. So I want to become the best comper. And I've sat down on live calls with my buyers just because I've asked them, and they've comped properties with me live. Like 2 or 3, I just gave them a few addresses. I'm like, just kind of, can you tell me how you think? And then at the same time is, anytime you send a deal to a buyer, ask for their feedback, because you're going to get a ton of nuggets from your buyers. How many deals, Renee, do you send out to your buyers and they just respond, not interested? You know, all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Like every single deal, you're going to at least have a handful of guys just respond, no thanks, not interested. And a lot of people will just be like, okay, thanks, have a good one, right? And send them the next one. But every single buyer that responds to that, I'm like, okay, great. What did you not like about it? Just so I know for future deals. I'm always getting feedback from the investors that I'm sending the deals to who don't like it, because I want to learn from those guys how they think. And especially if I don't sell the deal, then I'm really taking into consideration what they're telling me. If I do sell it, then it's like, okay, well, I did know what I was talking about. It just didn't work for those guys. So then I take into consideration, but not as much. But you know what I mean? So like feedback and getting into the brain of the actual investor is extremely important. And after years of doing it, you're going to be able to just think like your buyers. So right there, when I was comping it, like, you know, just so many things were going off in my brain of like how an investor would think. And I tried my best there to kind of think out loud. And you saw like my calculator spit out a price and I was just like, no, I don't like that price.
Right.
But I just knew that. The only way I knew that is because I know like one of my investors will probably pay a higher price than what my calculator is showing me, or a lower price than my calculator is showing me, but at least it kind of gives me a range as to where I need to be. Like you were saying, the range is important, and you're never going to be perfect to satisfy everyone. It just takes one guy. And I can't tell you how many times hundreds of buyers have told me it's not a deal, and then one guy comes along saying I want it. Right. Mm-hmm. So anyways, and then just also the practice, right? The repetition. You just have to just get addresses from Zillow. Even if you don't have deals coming in, just practice all day. Not all day. You got to get leads, right? Yeah. But, put an hour aside or something and just get a bunch of addresses from Zillow and just practice. Like that's what I did, you have to practice. You can't just expect to get good over time. Like you got to really actually try.
And let me break down practice for just a moment, because here's the thing too, guys, you want to empower yourself. You treat this like a business, treat this like a craft. I mean, I get it. You know, you might not necessarily you get into it and then it's not for you for whatever reason, you know, like this, you tried, you gave it the college try and you said, this maybe isn't for me. But while you're doing that, just put on the hat of this is a craft and I want to learn more about how to do this, because a lot of times what happens is people will just hot potato an address. I'll speak for myself. I'm not sure where Tyler went, but he'll be back. Let me see if I can, I'll talk. And if he comes back, I'll bring him back on. You know, people will just send me an address and without anything, no pictures, no having done any comps for themselves. Like what, you know, it's like, here, you do the work. You know, I just found this address and you do the work. It's like a subconscious, maybe conscious mentality of that. And don't do that. You know, make sure that if you're going to hand off something to myself or like a Tyler, that you've done the work and you've tried. So I like that. Kyle says, do or do not. Wait, what did you say, Tyler? Or Kyle, excuse me, do or do not. There is no try, right? I think who said that, Yoda? I think so. So that's true, right? You definitely want to just do your homework and make sure that you can show up for the person that you're sharing the information with. Because if you really do keep moving forward with this career, I think we lost him. He'll be back.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we lost you. Okay, it's all good.
My computer died for a sec.
I love it. No, we're live. It's all good. I kept talking. What I was saying, just to summarize, is also, you know, to empower the audience in what you were saying, on the coattails of what you were saying, is don't just hot potato us an address. You know, make sure that you do some of the preliminary homework and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing that? Because that will help us also stay within a range. You know, at least for myself, I have so much going on in the day. It's actually insane. And so it might not think like much like, oh, Renee or Tyler, we're just sitting around like waiting for people to send us deals. But even the 5 minutes or the 7 minutes that it might take to actually comp something, it's really helpful if you've done that, not only for yourself, because it shows us that you're actually taking initiative and doing this and wanting to learn, but also that it will, at least for me, Tyler, it gives me the range. So even somebody have said, you know, I think it should be this price, that I know in the lease, they probably did a 70% rule. So at least I have a place to start, versus sometimes some people send me stuff and it's just stinking retail. It's like not even anywhere near a deal. But if I could assess that, if they had actually sent me the price that is the offer price and the price that they think that it should be bought at. Because I don't care if you think that it, like, you don't know what you're doing. That's fine. We all have to start somewhere. But please, like, step up and show us that you're actually, you know, doing the work and that you're not just throwing us an address. We get, I don't know, maybe 20 addresses a day at least, something like that. Hopefully that makes sense to people. Yeah.
And I just want to, I'm gonna move on to the next.
Thank
address.
you.
But before that, I just want to touch on something really quick with what you said earlier. You know, getting the 4 pillars, that's actually important to value the property. Like, believe it or not, like not the motivation, but the situation that they're in will kind of tell you a story. Not every time, but like, for example, if an investor bought a property and they put it on the market, they couldn't sell it, and they were just trying to sell it without doing renovation. Well, you can obviously see their list price and be like, okay, well, no matter what my calculator spits out or what ARV I get, it's not that, even if that list price is a good deal, right? Because I've had a lot of times where I've comped a property. It gave me, okay, you can sell it at 200, right? But they're listed at 235, or I'm sorry, they're listed at, let's flip that. My calculator says I can sell it at 235, but they're listed at 200 for 100 days. Well, then my calculator is wrong no matter what. I don't care what that comes up with. I don't care if ARV is 500,000. I can't sell it above 200 because they haven't even been able to, and no one's going to buy that from me. So you got to understand that too, that situation. So let me share my screen and I'll answer this question. I can't hear you right now.
I know, sorry. We can put up the address as well. I mean, can you answer that question? I can just put up the address for La Brea.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
Did you go through a lot of people saying you you are making the wrong decision, etc. If you did, how'd you overcome it? That's all right.
All right.
How'd you overcome all of it, especially others saying about college? I mean, my dad was even telling me to go to college. He gave me an option to either go to college or I got to get a job and help pay the bills. And my mom and dad are not together. So I went and moved with my mom because she didn't require that of me. So to answer your question, in short, I am someone who I don't care what people say. And like, you know, I don't know the right word. Like I just don't care what people think, like honestly. So I'll just do what I want to do in a respectful manner. And if I think it's the best decision for me, then I have made up my mind and that's what I'm doing. So
that sounds like a true entrepreneur. I was in the principal's office every single day in elementary school. So there you go.
Yeah. I got my screen. Can you see my screen?
Now we can. There we go.
All right. We're doing the La Brea app, right?
Let's do La Brea. Yeah.
Cool.
This is my next one.
Yeah, you can tell me because I'm still learning the market. So if I'm totally wrong, correct me, please. So just doing what I always do, making sure that the criteria for the range of square footage. And by the way, you'll notice, guys, I don't put a minimum, right? Because like, whoops, I don't know what just happened there. I don't put a minimum square foot because as you saw in the last example, there was nothing the size of our property. And really the only comps I could use were the smaller ones, but at least that told me I'm definitely not lower than that, right? So I don't like to look at anything. I don't like to put a limit on these minimum square foot, basically. So off the bat, I notice based on just the street pattern, it looks like right here is a little different than, you know, over here. So let me figure out where we are.
And this, by the way, guys, I'll chime in here too a little bit since this is my neck of the woods. Immediately when I see South La Brea, I know that is south of Wilshire Boulevard. It's a totally different neighborhood north of Wilshire Boulevard. So already I'm thinking there's a different price differentiation. So these are just things that you get to know knowing neighborhoods. Windsor Hills, that little area. I also look at zip codes. I'm a big zip code person here in Los Angeles. I know that 90056, and when you look on the map where it gives you little neighborhood names, even though that's the city of Los Angeles, it's not its own municipal city like Santa Monica, Pasadena. It's still the city of LA, but that little pocket of the city of LA, Windsor Hills, View Park, that area is smoking hot and has been for a while. It's very close to close-ish to the neighborhood, to the airport, excuse me. It's not that far away to get to the beach. It's close to the 10 freeway, so you can get downtown easily. So it's all these little things because I'm thinking, who is the end buyer? Who would want to live in this neighborhood?
Right. Yeah, that's good. First thing I noticed, we're on a main street as well. So good to know. We are also in that little section, like right here. So I'm going to use the comps that are also right there that I see. These ones, unfortunately, are not on the main road. So we're not in the millions. That's a 2-story, which is fine. This is a 1,040,000, 1,366 square feet. So this is quite a bit bigger. This is quite a bit bigger as well, but it is within 200 square feet. So that's good. We're a 2.2. This is a 3.2. Now, for you, Renee, you know Southern California better than I do. How do you adjust for the bedrooms and bathrooms if you need to?
That's a loaded question because LA, I always jokingly say, is like a bunch of different neighborhoods trying to be a city. So for me to give you that flat answer isn't fair. I think in my opinion, it needs to be per neighborhood, right? Because if I say to you, oh, the bedroom adjustment is $25,000. Well, what about, Beverly Hills? Hello, that's like the bathroom sink is $25,000. Okay. So realistically, if you look at the neighborhood, I would loosely say in this neighborhood, you could start there. It kind of depends on what kind of bells and whistles that you're going to put on it, but probably a $25,000 adjustment to start.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, I mean, this one here, honestly, seems to be like the best one. I mean, this comp is good. I would totally use this comp. It's not renovated. And it is quite a bit older. So I do know that we're probably not below $1 million. Or maybe we're at $1 million, right? Because this one's older.
19, okay.
This one's a 1952. So we do have the advantage there. Lot size is good. This has an extra bedroom, but also we have an extra bathroom, and it's a little bigger in square foot. So I would say that we're probably around this range, but let me look at this one. I mean, this is a 3.3, again, within 200 square feet, which is great. Older, lot size is good. So, I mean, if we're using what you said, basically kind of estimating around $25,000
to start.
To start for the bed and bath. I mean, that puts us down to pretty much 1.1. I'll probably be a little conservative here and just say 1.1. But we are on that major road. So 1.1 minus 20%, 880, which explains why we haven't been able to sell this thing.
Plus they had a price reduction. It was at what, over 9. Yeah.
I don't think they're taking into consideration that street at all. I do know that we have a detached garage, so that is good. I'd say we're at an 880 ARV being on that main road. So based on my market research in LA, this looks like a heavy to me. I'm going to put 880 ARV. Let me just make sure this is correct. So 70% cosmetic, about 66, close to 65% for heavy. Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right. Let me see. What's the square footage again?
It is 1366.
Yeah, I mean, I like to do $100 a square foot, you know, really, because most of these homes in LA are old. So
let's do this. $100 a square foot, 880, 10% profit margin. Bam, baby. Look how good my freaking market research is.
Yeah. And that's how I look at it too, right, guys? See, I did it slightly differently than he did, right? I do the percentage or the price per square foot. And because most of these homes are built in the 20s, you heard me earlier, 20s, 40s, right? Even into the little bit of the 70s, they need a lot of TLC, and we have a lot of termite issues here in California, and that can literally and figuratively eat up your profit. So even if it's not $100 a square foot to do the actual work, I would pad that in for any holding costs anyway. So I don't know that there's, at least in LA County proper, that there's anything less than $100,000 to do a flip. I would be surprised. Either that or the house was probably built in the 80s, something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, that gives us that just, double confirms what you're saying. Plus the market research I've done, average of heavy properties are selling for around 66. So I think 580 is a rock solid price to sell it at. Keep that in mind, sell it at. So you got to get under contract below that if you want to make anything. So yeah.
And that's going to hurt, guys, because if this seller had, let me take this down 1 second. If this seller has that price in mind, I'm not going to throw my fellow agent under the bus, but it's either an agent that doesn't care or doesn't know. What I mean when they say they don't care, a lot of agents right now, it's scarcity city trying to get a listing. So agents will take a listing just to put their sign out on the yard so they can pick up other business. And from that, they don't even care if they sell that property. It's a real thing. Okay. Sad, but true. The other part of it is they just don't know. They are comping it based on kind of like retail-ish, which sounds like that is the case. And then the seller's probably strong arming them because they're looking around and saying, well, look at all the other houses in the neighborhood that sold with an 8 in front of it. And it's not a realistic conversation. Can you imagine if you were a seller and you were hoping for $800,000 some dollars, for a house, and along comes myself or Tyler saying, well, hey, we'll give you in the 5s. I mean, that stings. So that goes back to the pillars. You must understand, if the agent is willing to give it to you, the motivation, because if there's no motivation on this, then they simply will not go below a price. And who knows what they'll do. They'll try to do the work themselves. They'll get upset and they'll just rent it, or they'll just eventually just, whatever, they'll succumb to it. And that's where the fortune's in the follow-up. This could be a 4 to 6 month. It could be an expires. It comes off the market. Another agent gets the listing. Guys, follow up. The fortune's in the follow-up. You never know. because it's not going to sell for any more than that to an investor. It will only sell more than that to an end user, somebody who's going to live in the house and they don't care about making an immediate profit because they're not flipping it. They will write up the equity on a property. That's what they're hoping for, my guess. Anyhow.
Love it.
Holy cow. We are just about the top of the hour. Where did this go, Tyler? I feel like I barely scratched the surface with you. It's unbelievable. Seriously. So we had one more in the chat, but I think that, either get it myself, get it Tyler. We can make sure that, we'll get your question answered. Were you able to put in the chat if you were able to share with that, or should people get to you personally on your DMs with that calculator?
Oh, I don't mind. Here, I'll just share it with you guys. So if you want, I can do a quick walkthrough of how it works.
All right, let's bring it on up.
Okay, cool. So we got two calculators here. So the first one is the actual fix and flip calculator. So I've got a little bit of a, I'm gonna actually delete this because that's not necessary. Whoops. 50, 75, 110, 150, 250. Okay, now I'm going to delete this. All right, guys. So pretty much how it works is you choose your market. Right now, I only have Sacramento, Bay Area, Oakland, and it will tell you what dollar per square foot. Actually, Oakland shouldn't be there because I don't have any Oakland information. And so it's based off of this, right? So if I'm in the Bay Area or Sacramento, I'll just choose the remodel level. So if it's a heavy rehab, I know it's $60 a square foot. And basically, I get that by talking to buyers. So I know that this is what buyers are paying. So then I'll just throw in the square foot. I'll put in, what did it give me here? So I'll put 60. And then you just put the ARV that you got. And then it will calculate what the dollar per square foot, or based on the dollar per square foot, your renovation costs. Now this, I think I might have had to leave that thing, actually. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna hide this.
Tyler, I put this up here if you can answer that while you're looking at it too. And I'll take
I can't see. Have you ever used Big Banks? I have not used it. I actually read that question earlier. I've not used that. I don't really know what that is, honestly. So yeah, I'll throw in my ARV here. It'll spit out dollar per square foot, as we just did with, this is the example that we used with Renee just now. And then I'll put, what is my desired profit margin? And so basically it'll tell you for lipsticks, 8%, full cosmetic 10, heavy 12, and then go from there. And you can adjust this based on your market. And then I'll just throw it in here. Sometimes I might know a buyer that specifically pays or that specifically is okay with 8% no matter what the condition is. So I'll just put that in if I know that buyer is going to pay a little bit higher. And then it tells me what I should dispo it at. And then you just know that you got to get it below that. Here are some major repairs. So this is kind of based on more Sacramento numbers. But what I'll do is if I need a roof, I'll add $10,000. It'll add $10,000, and you can see the major items rehab cost is $10,000. If it needs an HVAC, it'll do the same thing. So there's an extra $20,000. So now you can see that our dispo price just went down an extra $20,000. So you just add that stuff on here. Percent ARV calc, this is not necessary because I'm going to share this other one with you. And then cap rate calculator. I'm going to just go through the fix and flip calculator one because there is a tutorial on how to use this. So that's how you use the fix and flip calculator. The percent ARV calculator there's a ton of hidden sheets here of different markets I've done market research in. So let's take Los Angeles, for example. What I did is I went on Privy and I looked at all the fix and flips that took place in the last 6 months. I put them in here. I put the purchase price, sale date, hold time, purchase price, sale price, gross profit, the percent of ARV for that deal that they bought it and sold it for, and then the buyer's name. And what happens is, depending on which market you select, so let's do Sacramento, Los Angeles, you will choose whether it's a light cosmetic, full cosmetic, or heavy. So light cosmetic will just take kind of the middle average of this data here that I put in this sheet. And then it will calculate the percent of ARV that you need to sell the deal at based on all fix and flip data. If it's a heavy, then it'll calculate kind of not the 25th percentile, but it will calculate more of like the 35th or something. I can't remember the exact percentile that I used, but I kind of played around with it. So I got a number that actually made sense. And it will just kind of estimate that a heavy rehab based on like the lower percent of ARVs are selling for this average. And then same thing with light for Los Angeles, you know, you'll sell it probably closer to like 73, 74% ARV. And then it will just spit out your suggested disparate price. And it's a suggested, it's not perfect. So if you know the market better than the calculator, you know, you can adjust it from there as you saw. And then the cash on cash is more so to find out a return for a buy and hold. You just put your price. This will automatically calculate, you know, your estimated monthly payment, taxes, insurance, and with the total PITI. So let's say 20% down payment. This is going to be your estimated monthly payment. Here's the gross rent. Let's say it's a 6 unit. Put $6,000 in it, $1,000 a unit. That's insanely low, but if you can get that, great. And you're calculating based on everything else. Net annual income, $9,400, about $800 a month. That's a 5% return on your money, basically, that you put into the deal. So that's how this cash flow calculator works. So keep these hidden, hide, and you can obviously unhide them by clicking them and updating the data if you want to add a new market. So that's how you use that. I'm going to share the link.
Oh my God, you guys, seriously. I mean, can somebody make some noise in the chat, please? I feel like you've stunned everyone or they've all left. No, I can see the eyeballs here. So they're still breathing. Can somebody fog a mirror? Let me know. Smash the like button, smash anything, put emojis in there. Tyler, this was hot. I mean, thank all of you for even showing up, you know, in the middle of the afternoon. I know there's going to be a huge replay. There's so much to unpack here. I mean, this was well worth the hour. So guys, please put all the emojis in, give Tyler some love. He could be making some money, and he's in here giving of his time to make sure that, you know, the industry at large can get educated, at least through, you know, my platform, although I consider him a we, because, you know, he's my bud. Anyway, Tyler, how the heck do they find you? You know, if they resonate with you, they want to do business with you, amen, have at it. This is the abundance mindset, right? If you resonate with me, and then I'll call Tyler and we'll probably do business together anyway. But how do they get at you?
So I'm putting my phone number in the chat right now. You can text that number, save it. And, you know, if you need any help, let me know. I can help give you some buy prices if your deal's in California. And then on Instagram, just my name, Tyler Uenaka. And Facebook, same thing, Tyler Uenaka. Give me a follow on there. I'll post updates. And obviously, we've got our CRM. So, you know, feel free. You get some extra value there too, guys. If you want a system that's modeled, Austin is using it. Corianne is using it. I think they're the ones that are partners, right?
Austin and Corianne are partners. And say the name of it so people will know when they get at you. If you guys are looking for a CRM, by the way, guys, please, one of my best business coaches, and I mean, he taught and still continues to teach some of the top agents in this country on Realist, the top real estate agents in this country, and they still bitch and moan. I'm on these calls with them on the realtor side of my life, not the investor side of my life. And they bitch and moan about what CRM they should use. And they've been in the business for 20 years. You know what he says? The one you're going to use. Stop overthinking it. But Tyler has put together an incredible CRM. If you need a CRM, please call him, get it, pay for it, and then use it. Don't worry about the things.
You guys, you're getting some extra value in there too, because we have an entire learning course. So it's not just you sign up and you now have a system. Number one, it's modeled after my entire business model. It's pre-built. It's a plug and play system. You don't have to figure anything out. And then we have an entire learning course on how to implement your business into it. Plus, I do 3 extra live calls a week for all of our Simple Send members. So if you have additional wholesaling related questions or Simple Send related questions, I can help you on those calls, me and you. So that's only for Simple Send users. So if you guys want to check that one out, we got a demo on the site, and text my number if you have any questions about it.
Coming in hot, guys. Listen, don't overthink this business. It's very simple. It's not easy. And part of it is right here. It's right here is where it starts. Okay. This call alone will get you started. You don't need to pay any extra money. I'm serious. This call alone will get you started. Get at me with some agent psychology and some investor stuff. Get at Tyler. Tyler's in California. He probably currently knows a little bit more about Northern California, whereas I've been in Southern California. So that's where he and I can learn from each other, right? Especially the LA County area. But aside from all that, you guys have everything you need. I swear to God in this hour. So please rewatch this, dog ear it, send it to somebody that needs to hear about it. Stop overthinking this business and just get at it. Call people that might know better, lock arms. We'll all get you paid and we'll make this business a better business. So Tyler, I learned a lot in this hour. I didn't know what to expect because we are on the fly here, but I appreciate your time so much, brother. I really do. Thank you so much.
This was really fun. Thank you so much. I'm glad I could share what I know and help other people.
Amen. Listen, I will see you in person hopefully soon. Everybody else, thank you for joining. We're every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Coast time. We're going to have guests on. It's all good. So show up, pass the word. Appreciate you guys. Be well. Bye.